This is What's Wild in New Hampshire by wildlife biologist Eric Orff. Well, here I am at another wetland. In fact, that duck box out there on that metal stake, I put there about 25 years ago when I worked for the New Hampshire Fishing Department. And I was charged with checking and maintaining the duck nesting boxes in Bear Brook State Park, where I am right now. Well, I hear some people in the distance. A lot of trails here, a lot of huge increase in use of Bear Brook State Park. I happen to be on the Bear Brook Planning Steering Committee, which has helped formulate the next 15-year plan for the Bear Brook State Park, which will be wrapping up very soon. The public hearing was 2 or 3 weeks ago. But one thing I forgot to mention when I did one earlier, where I took a video of the beaver, is here's a great place to go, Bear Brook State Park. Not that I wanted to be overwhelmed. 20 years, maybe 25 years ago, when I put that duck box out there, the nesting box, right there on that post. So I did it in the wintertime. I chopped a hole in the ice and drove that pole into the ice. Put that box there, and there was a couple here. There should be another one at the other end. I don't see it, but there were at least 2 or 3 here when I put them here. But so with time, some go, and they are maintained, as far as I know, by Fish and Game still. But here's the thing. You think you got to go up to the White Mountains or north to see wildlife. About the same time that I put that duck box in there 25 years ago, there was a map that came out of the biodiversity of New Hampshire, where things live, where wild things live. Guess what? Most wild things live where most people live. Why are there more people in Nashua and Manchester and Concord and Portsmouth and Rochester and Dover than anywhere else in the state? Because it's the easiest place to live for our forefathers. The soils are more rich, less stony. The seasons for growing things are much longer. The winters are much less harsh. So the fact is, in central New Hampshire, particularly the eastern part of the state, so basically from Lake Winnipesaukee south, east of the Merrimack River, there is more diversity per square mile, per square yard, per square foot than anywhere else in the state, according to that map. And I can tell you, I believe it's the truth. So you don't have to go to the White Mountains or some faraway place to see wildlife. There is actually more wildlife in Merrimack County per square mile than there is in Cass County, or say in Londonderry than there is in Pittsburgh. Yeah, if you want to see a moose or moose densities, bear densities, further you go north, yes, the densities are up there. But for everything else, there is more life, more wild things in your town, in your community, in your town forest, in Bear Brook State Park, Pawtucket State Park, and the others here in southeast New Hampshire than there is anywhere in the North Country on a per square mile basis. And I can tell you that because as the fur bearer biologist for the New Hampshire Fishing Game Department for 30 years, for 3 decades, every licensed trapper in New Hampshire, and there are about 500, but there was upwards close to 1,000 when I first started in the late 70s, that every licensed trapper must report what they catch by town. So in 1979, there were about 6,000 beavers taken in New Hampshire because fur prices were up $60 or more for a beaver pelt compared to $5 now. So nobody's trapping now and catching very little because it's not worth it. You spend more in gas than it is in anything you might catch. So trappers are not trapping like they did when fur prices were high, and they do cycle up and down over the centuries quite a bit. But I can tell you, for every beaver caught in Cass County, 10 or 20 were caught in Rockingham County. So the majority of the 6,000 beavers taken in 1979 were caught in Rockingham, Merrimack, Hillsborough counties, Stratford County, probably somewhat in Cheshire or Sullivan, Not quite the diversity to the west as there is here to the eastern side of the state. But, again, same with raccoons, same with Fisher. The majority of animals that were taken by trappers came from the southern half of the state by far. Way more than half of all animals that were taken came right out of the southern counties where there are more people per square mile than anywhere else in the state. Winters are less harsh here. The soil is way richer. There is more water. It's easier for beavers to back that water up than a rushing mountain stream, so you have more meadows, more fertile areas for things to grow. So, yeah. So, per square mile, there is way more wildlife in areas like this, Bear Brook State Park. Deer. The state deer take is somewhere around 12,000. Well, 2/3 of those come out of the southern counties. Yep. There are more deer here. There is more beaver. There are more birds. There are more ducks. There are more geese. Nashua is the goose capital of New Hampshire. Part of my job was to monitor populations of wildlife, such as ducks and geese. If I wanted to count geese, I went to Nashua. Yes, I did. They live in the golf courses and the business parks, and they winter there. Way more wildlife where there's way more people. So I'm not saying you gotta expect to see them in Manchester or Nashua, but get outside of town. You don't have to go far, and you will see way more species. There are more frogs. There are more salamanders. There are more snakes. There are more turtles. Everything just outside of the major we're outside the densest part of the cities. You don't have to go far. So do you have to drive 100 miles up to the White Mountains to see things? Nope. It's in your backyard. It's right here, right in Bear Brook State Park, right in Pawtucket State Park, right in Rollins State Park, or all the others down here in your town forest. That's where you want to go and see wildlife. You don't have to go north. You have to just get outside. I had to do a shopping run this afternoon, but I just couldn't help myself. I was tied up today doing other things, and going for an evening drive and see what I can see. Haven't seen much here yet. I haven't been here long. Well, it says I've been here like 7 minutes, 8 minutes. But the chances of me seeing something here in this pond is 10 times greater than if I were sitting up in Pittsburgh. There's more wildlife here. Because the soils are richer, the winters are less harsh, things are just better for people and wildlife here in central and southern New Hampshire. Hard to believe, but that's how life actually is. And if you're a wildlife biologist, you are paying attention to that. Yes, I did. So, yeah. So, wildlife is wild in New Hampshire. This is wildlife biologist Eric Orff. Yeah, get outside, take a look.